Welcome to Ask an EVP Auditor. I'm Ellen from Boyum. Over the next 3 videos, we're going to be doing a deep dive into how fraud occurs in an employee benefit plan. This is a big topic, so we'll be splitting up the topic into parts based on who is perpetrating the fraud. In part 1, we're talking about service provider fraud, when a record keeper, custodian, or investment manager misuses plan assets. Service providers have access to plan assets and participant data, which makes them a potential risk if controls fail. Fraud can occur when plan sponsors rely too heavily on their service providers, and those service providers can then falsify statements or misappropriate funds. Between 2016 and 2024, an investment advisor defrauded clients of more than $17 million. He produced false quarterly statements, he promised bond-like returns, and he even forged signatures on distribution forms. The scheme funded personal expenses like travel and recreational businesses, and the fraud persisted for years because no one verified the reported investments against those independent custodial records. It was finally uncovered when auditors requested direct confirmations from the custodian and discovered that the investments didn't exist. I don't have to tell you how devastating this type of fraud could be to the participants in an employee benefit plan. So, how does a plan sponsor mitigate this risk? 1. Choose your service providers wisely. Service providers hold a lot of power and can do a lot of damage. You should be considering the performance and costs of your service providers on a regular basis. Review the SOC 1 reports annually to understand the provider's internal controls. Within all of your SOC 1 reports, the service provider will list out complementary user entity controls. These controls are critical for preventing fraud because if you don't have these in place, the SOC 1 controls cannot work. If the service provider does not perform SOC 1 audits, as many investment advisors don't, consider how that service provider could perpetrate fraud. This should be a key component of your plan's administration. Reconcile plan assets to custodian statements regularly. Don't rely solely on reports from the providers. Those custodial statements should be obtained directly from the custodian, a bank, a trust, or an insurance company. Don't go through your service provider to obtain, as they could falsify or alter the statements. And perform surprise audits or request independent confirmations of investments. You don't have to wait for an EBP auditor to do this. Service provider fraud is rare but devastating. Strong oversight and independent verification are your best defense. Thanks so much for listening. In the next video, we'll be talking about plan management and administrator fraud.